You've heard it said that sound is the most important part of filmmaking. It can make or break your film, but it doesn't have to break your budget. Now, I've mastered the art of creating cinematic soundscapes without recording a single sound on set for free. Many filmmakers struggle with sound. It can be the hardest part of filmmaking, and often it's the last tool that people learn and put into their tool belt when it comes to learning all the different skills relating to film. But I've got a couple of tips here on how to make excellent sounding films for free, even if you're working by yourself and can't really take the time to record all your sounds on set. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it with some examples. First of all, I want you to take note of these couple of scenes in my most recent film, Decay of Now. Alright, now here's one more bonus scene. One more from a film I made earlier this year. Check it out. Now, every bit of sound design in these scenes was created in post-production. So once you've finished production on your film, if you need to record extra sounds, it's easier to get a cheap Zoom recorder or a mobile phone and go around and record the different sounds that you're going to need for your film, whether it's footsteps or doors opening and closing, that sort of thing. David Sandberg has a great video on that on his Pony Smasher channel. I'll link it over in the description somewhere, right? But sometimes you might not have the time to do that, or you might not have, you might not want to record it on your phone. You might not have a Zoom recorder. You might also be looking for sounds that you can't create on your own. So my big tip here is unimaginably simple and easy, and I'm going to show you right now how to do it. On YouTube, there is an endless library of sound effects that people have uploaded. You can search for almost any sound that you can think of, and you'll probably be able to find it on YouTube. I utilize this resource of sounds that I know exist on YouTube to actually sound design a lot of my films in post-production, and I'm going to take you through step by step exactly how to do it. Alright, here we go. So this is the scene that I'm going to do the sound design for. It's a scene from Over the Next Horizon, and the context for this scene isn't super important, so let's just go ahead. So we've got the actor coming in through the door, Adrian. He rounds the corner here, takes a step and peeks in, then turns around, he goes down the hallway, and then he enters another room. Okay, so this will be fairly simple to do. Now, I like to do it in passes. So the first pass that I do will be all the really obvious sounds, the things that will be the first things that we'll be looking for. So as he comes through here, to me that's the door. That'll be the thing that we're looking for. So what I'll search for is screen door sound effect. I'll just say closing. You can be really specific, and sometimes you'll get what you want. Okay. I think the sound will be perfect. All right. So you're going to want to find a YouTube to MP3 downloader. You don't have to use the same one as me. Just find one that you enjoy the user face of. You're going to hit download. Often there's like pop-ups and plugins built in, but just don't click on anything that you don't need to. So this isn't quite working because this is like free shutting. It's like bouncing off, but Adrian here is closing it slowly. So I'm going to find the moment that it impacts. Okay, so that's it closing. And I'm going to get rid of the first part. Let's see how that sounds. I need a bit of work to make it what we want. So now as Adrian's walking around here, you could, so with him raising up the gun, in my mind I could imagine like a click sound or some sort of gun handling sound. So I'm going to go back to YouTube, and I'm going to go pistol gun handling sound effect. So let's see what this sounds like. Now, you're not always going to be after really big sounds. You're not going to want any one sound to be really, really noticeable unless it's like a gunshot or something. So let's see how this goes. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Here we are. That's maybe even a little bit more. All right, that's fine. Sometimes if the sound's not exactly what you're looking for, you can pitch it up or down a little bit. So I'm going to pitch it down and see if that sounds better. Yeah, that's kind of more what I'm looking for. Okay, now what we're looking for next is this. So, okay, so he's walking over this plank of wood. So what I'm going to look for is like a creaking, like a wood creaking sound effect for that. So let's go wood creaking sound effect. Okay, let's try these scary. Now that's a little bit too bassy. That's not quite what I'm looking for. Let's try this. That's it. That's it. All right. So I'm gonna time it with when his foot goes down, like this. Okay, and then this other longer drawn out creak, I'm gonna do when he starts to shift his weight off. I'm gonna bring this other one in as he starts to lift his other foot and shift his weight off. So let's see how that goes. That's good, but that sound is going on for way too long. So there's a few things you can do. I'm going to speed it up. You could try and trim it and have it end sooner, but I'm going to speed it up by about a half, and that should be okay. There we go. Perfect. And then coming in here, he rounds the corner into this room. There's no real big obvious sound effects. This quick movement here, I feel like we need something for that. So we're going to get the gun handling sounds in again. I'm going to pick a different one. Let's see what this one sounds like. Okay, we'll just use the last one here. So let's find that moment again. We're going to have this start right at the beginning of that move. There we are. Now you're not always playing in realism when you're doing this. You're designing the sounds that you think, or that you're designing the sounds that the audience anticipates to hear, not necessarily the sounds that you would be hearing. Now, on a second pass, we might look for sounds that are a bit more subtle. So, for example, as he's closing the door here, he stops it with his hand. So we probably need a sound for that. What I'm going to look for, because there's not going to be a sound effect on YouTube for hand stopping door closing or something, but he's wearing gloves, so it would be like a fabric-y sound. So I'm going to go for like a cloth grab sound effect. So it's like a... All right, let's try this one. Okay, I'm not going to use that for stopping the door, but I was wanting to get some clothes movement for when he went around the corner both times. I'm going to jump in and use that. It's these swooshy ones that I want to use. So I'm going to line that up here. Bring the volume down. See how that sounds. All right, let's see. Okay, that was a little bit too fast. He wasn't going that fast. So again, I'm going to see how slowing it down to maybe 80% sounds. That might work if it's very quiet. Let's see. Yeah, that sort of worked. All right, we'll leave it as is. And then I'm going to bring this one here for this movement. Let's see how that goes. Okay, that was great. I just need to cut off the end. So this is another way that you can fit them in if you just blend them out at the back end if the sound's not quite finished. There we go. And that's obviously too loud, so I'm going to bring it down a little bit. It's still a little bit too loud because we're and he's in the distance over here. It's a wide shot. Okay, that's all right. Now we've got to find this hand thing. Let's try cloth sound. Okay, this is very similar to the other one. In the interest of time, look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a sound work that isn't the sound that you're looking for. So we're going to take this sound here, and we're going to make it sound like his hand is stopping the door. Let's see. Okay. That is clearly like a t-shirt or a tea towel rustling. So let's find this exact moment. Here's where his hand stops it. I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to speed it up a little bit, because it's just for this simple touch. And then I'm going to bring the volume way down. I'm going to play with the pitch, maybe put it up. Oh, no, I think I need to put it down again. Okay, let's see how that sounds. There we go. Could you hear that? Now, even though that sound isn't perfect, in the context of the whole thing, you're not going to be hyper-focusing on, is that really the sound that his cloth would make against the thing? No, it's just going to blend all in. There we go. All right. Perfect. Now, on a third pass, what I'm going to be doing is putting all of his footsteps in there. So he's got a couple of footsteps, all the way in here. Now, if we want to look at the floor that he's walking on and try and match it. So on the floor, you can see that there's some broken glass and debris, but he is walking on carpet, which make it not that noisy. So what I want to do is I'm going to find like a carpet footsteps or footfalls on the carpet sound effect. Then I'm going to get one with where the sound of someone stepping on broken glass. I'll just grab this first one because I'm fairly confident it's going to be what I'm looking for. So I'm going to do the first couple of footsteps with you, or I'll do the ones that are a little bit easier, and then I'll just cut to when I'm finished doing the footsteps. So to work with these footfalls, you're going to want to track through the footage and find when the foot first makes contact with the ground. It seems obvious, right? But this is where we're going to put the first one. And then you're just going to manually go through. And as he takes each step, you're going to start the next footfall. And it's slow and it's boring. And this, if I'm being honest, is my least favorite part of sound designing, is the footsteps. So I'm going to go through and put all the footsteps in, and I'll come right back when it's all done and show you what it sounds like. All right, so I've gone through and I've put all the carpet footsteps in. This is what it sounds like. You'll notice that I have even included every little shuffle that he makes. in his movement. So I've included a footfall for that movement. Now there's a little bit here where he's going. I've used carpet footsteps for this bit. Okay, but then when we're here, he's obviously well, that's obviously not carpet, which is a mistake that I've made. That's tile. But he's stepped over all this debris and all this mess. Okay, and then we transition here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bunch of some sound effects of glass breaking. Okay, so I'm going to go stepping on broken glass. Should just be able to use that. Download, get out of here, pop up. Okay. I'm going to bring this broken glass in. Okay, so I just want a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, let's see how this sounds. It sounds okay. I want to have a bit more though, so I want him to be walking on glass through this stuff as well. And then when he first walks in, because he kind of stops when he takes a step in, and I want that to be because he stepped on some glass as well. So let's see how these two bits sound with glass. I'm going to, of course, I'll have to bring the volume down a little bit, but let's do that. All right, let's see how this bit sounds. Okay, these footfalls are way too loud. I'm going to bring them down heaps more. These ones are probably too loud as well. Bring them down a little bit. But these ones are close to the camera, so I'm going to bring them up a little bit. All right, let's try that again. All right, we're getting to the glass bit. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. What I need to do is I need to get rid of this original sound. So I'm just going to mute that track and see how it sounds without the camera audio, because that has been rolling the whole time. All right, now you might notice as you're listening through this now, it feels a little bit empty. Even though all the right sounds are there, it feels very studio recorded. It doesn't feel like he's in a universe. It feels like he's in a scene where some guy's placing sound effects. So what scenes really need is what's called room tone. So you can record room tone when you're on location if you're able to, but that spot was quite close to a busy road, so I wasn't able to. So I'm going to go empty room tone sound effect. I'm not really going to check it because they all sound similar. I, in another circumstance, might be a bit more particular around what room tone I used if it didn't fit the room. We'll see how that sounds. I'll show you what it sounds like first. It might be hard to hear, so I'm going to turn it up for you. It just sounds like that. It's just a droning, just the sound of nothing. Because you can't just have the sound of nothing. What I'm going to do before I finish the scene is we want him to feel like we want the scene to feel like it exists in a world. So he's in the apocalypse, he's in a house, but there's going to be things going on outside the house that he should be able to hear as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the sound of like maybe a bird, where let's just grab a crow, distant. Now this I'm going to have to check. Sponsored by. All right, here we go. So I'm going to have to check this one to make sure it's what I'm looking for. Let's go. Perfect. So it's just a distant sound effect. And I think I'm going to play that when he's in the big empty room in the wide, just to help with immersion and so that we don't feel like we're not existing in a bigger world, because we are. Okay, let's see how that plays. That kind of works because he looks up like, "Hey, what you doing, crows? Hey, what you looking at, crows?" All right. I'm gonna. You can pan the sounds as well. It's a really useful tool. So I'm gonna pan that so it's sort of coming from the right hand side. You won't be able to tell in the video probably, but the thing you're gonna want to check about these sounds from YouTube is if they have come in stereo or if any of them are mono. So these have all come in stereo, which is great. That's what we're looking for. So I think the scene is pretty much the way that we want it. So we're going to listen to it again from the top, and you'll get to see for yourself what I'm talking about when I say that you can create professional sounding soundscapes without having to record all the sound on the set. Here we go. I'm not going to do this whole scene because it would take too long, but I'm going to show you how to incorporate these sounds if you've got a more action heavy or a horror scene or a fight scene where there's sort of more dynamic sound needed. I'm going to play the short clip through so you can see what I'm talking about. So this was a film that I shot with Adrian as well, but it never ended up getting finished or released. I might release it as a random short film later. But I rocked up to this guy's house. He's having a party of one. Comes out, we're pantomiming. Slap. Give me that. Oi, let me in. Ugh. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go through the fight scene, and every single touch or movement, every single bit of contact or movement, you're going to want to have a sound for. So just rolling through here, grabbing the cricket bat. That's one sound. Pull. That'll be another sound. Clothes rustling maybe. Slap. We're going to want to get that. Pulling out of his hand. We're going to want to get that. Of course, him running, throwing it on the ground. So we're just going to do this one little exchange. We're not going to worry about all the footsteps and everything. We're going to want some sort of grabby sound. So we're going to go grabbing sound effect. And we'll just see what we can get. You sort of fish around and see what you grab. What you grab. All right, let's go with this one and see what this sounds like. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. All right, let's try something else. Some hand grab. Here we go, perfect. Let's hear that again. Perfect. That's all we need. We just need something. It's not going to be super loud, and if the sound quality is not great for these files, that's not a huge problem either. So let's just jump in here, and we'll get the exact moment. He grabs it. There we are. Contact. All right, let's have it there. All right, grab. Now, we're going to want to bring the sound down for that, but okay, here we go. So grab, and then the yank. So we could use like a whoosh, like a whoosh sound effect. So they're called whoosh sound effects. So you're going to want to go whoosh. This is what we want. And we might need to manipulate it a little bit because they can sound a little bit silly. So let's just see. What are the whooshes? We got whoosh, whoosh. I kind of like that one because you can kind of hear like almost the fabric getting whooshed in that. So, all right, let's bring it over here. We're going to turn the volume down, of course, and let's see how that sounds. Okay, it's a little bit high pitch, so I'm going to bring the pitch down. Right, that might work. It might work. Okay. So let's just use the clothes rustling from before. We're gonna get some clothes movement in there as well. And that might kind of mask it a bit. Let's see how that sounds. Slap. So we want a slap sound effect. And this, we're gonna get some cartoony slaps. Let's see if we can get a. I'm gonna say sometimes you can add like adjectives and stuff just to get maybe a little bit closer to what you're looking for. Face slap. That's not what I want. Okay, maybe this will work. So this is a bit of a dry sounding slap, like it feels like it's happening in like a gymnasium or something. It's not exactly what we're wanting. But we'll let's see. Let's see. All right. So what you can do is you can layer sounds, which is something I've talked about. It's we kind of did it with the glass and the footsteps, right? So let's just try. I'm gonna look for a realistic punch sound. Sure. Now this is this punch has a bit more of a fleshy sound to it, a bit of weight behind it. Listen again. Okay, and even though it's not the best punch sound, I'm going to layer it in here just to make the point and show you what's going on. So we're going to layer it in behind the slap. Let's see how that sounds. Not great, to be honest. What happens if we just get rid of the slap? That's a lot closer to what I'm looking for. Maybe the slap could still work if I just pitch it down. Let's try that. No, the slap just doesn't work at all. Slap's the problem. Okay, that sort of works. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab another whoosh. And try this whoosh, because I know that there's a whoosh there hiding just before the punch. That whoosh kind of helps. If you want to get really fun, you can. So he's been slapped here, and you see his sort of mouth open. You can even have like teeth falling out if you want. Spinning teeth out sounding effect. Spitting. Here we go. This is what I want. Spitting broken teeth out. I'm gonna try and fit that in there somewhere, and it's just about experimenting and trying to find the right combination of things. You never know what's going to work. This could be really funny. All right, let's got two different ones here. Let's try this one. Well, that didn't work. Let's try this one. That's kind of funny. I like that. Right, now this is a big grab. It's almost like a rip, like I don't know what sound that is. Rip sound effect. Because again, like we're selling immersion. We're not selling realism when you're doing this sound design stuff. So you wouldn't believe some of the sounds that end up in my films. They are sometimes the bizarrest sounds. Okay, that might work with something else, or it might not work at all. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna bring the other whooshes in. We get a bigger whoosh. There we are. That might actually just be the sound I'm after. But let's see. Okay, we'll bring the rip down. Okay, so what I think could help as well is another hand grab. Grab maybe a little bit louder than the other one. So let's just play it all together. There we go. That kind of sounds like something. I am starting to like the sound of all this. Okay. And by itself it doesn't sound great. But when you add, here we go, let's go running idle car sound effect. And this in this context, this will be our room tone, is the idling car. So let's go. Okay, and then all this, because it's outside the car, I'm gonna do a compound clip. I'm gonna put some audio effect on it, maybe like a slight echo. I'm just trying to give it space. Like I'm trying to make it feel like it's happening in an outside space. And the volume of all those sounds down a little bit. For this scene and for what I was imagining for the scene, this is working quite well. And I'll just play it again for you, all mixed together properly so you can see, and we'll go from there. Okay, so a big obvious disclaimer here is if you're recording dialogue, it's going to be super preferable to get that recorded on set, on the day. But if that's not possible, it's entirely feasible to get decent sounding ADR. You can use your phone. I've used my phone voice memo app to record ADR for myself before, and it's been perfectly fine. But again, you can get a cheap Zoom recorder or even a shotgun mic and slap it on top of your camera, and then you can use that to re-record ADR as well. As a matter of fact, in my film Don't Come, it's a pretty long film. It's 30 minutes. It's very dialogue heavy, and the whole first half of the film is a guy driving around in the car having conversations. Now, the audio that I recorded on set for those scenes was completely unusable, and I needed to re-record all that dialogue. So what I did is I sat in my car in my driveway, I put the camera body in my car on the dash, and I hit record, and I redubbed all my lines just using the camera body audio. I didn't have a mic, I didn't have a sound recorder, I didn't use my phone, I just used the camera audio, and I re-recorded all my lines, and this is how they sounded. Anyway, I'll be there soon. Thanks, buddy. Bye. Now, it's not perfect, but I don't think anyone noticed, and to me it didn't feel out of place, and it didn't compromise the artistic integrity of the rest of the film, so I just went with it. Now, another big disclaimer here is around copyright and ownership. Now, it's always going to be preferable for you to own every element that you use in your films. So when you're doing this and you're ripping things from YouTube, obviously you don't own them. So I think there's possibly like an ethical question you need to have around here. And the way that I would think about it is you need to be transforming these sounds by the way that you're using them in your films. There shouldn't really be any one sound that sits in isolation without being transformed by all the other sounds that are layered into that moment. So I think that that's something that you're going to have to think about yourself, but if it's possible, I would recommend going through and find the source of some of these sounds and actually crediting the original owners of the sounds, or if possible, buying them. I'll let you sit with this dilemma and do with it what you will. So some of my films, as I've said, are completely designed and created using sounds that I've sourced from YouTube, and they blend together seamlessly at times, and it takes a lot of practice. My earlier films when I was doing sound design for myself, they weren't great, right? But you practice and you get better. And more recently, I've been trying to record my sounds on set and get on set recording, and it's really paid off. It's been great to have that experience, and I've been able to more sparingly use sounds from YouTube or other places. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful. If there's anything else that you would like me to talk about or you think would be helpful for me to talk about, let me know, and I'll see you later. Bye.